Hello, and welcome to WTF Stories and Advice.
I'm Caroline Cranshaw.
And I'm Daryl Gove.
And we're two hypnotherapists that talk about things other than hypnotherapy.
Because we know everything.
Well, we think we do.
Yeah. Well, that's what people tell us anyway, that we think we know everything.
We are professional know-it-alls.
And we're here to talk to you about things that you might want to know about stuff and things.
Yeah, what he said.
We're going to give you some awesome content because we know that you've been hanging out like dripping with anticipation for what we're going to give to you in the new year. And so we thought we will start with some really cool, juicy shit for you.
Juicy shit?
Juicy stuff?
Okay.
Yeah, juicy stuff.
Yeah. We are committed to doing lots more shows. We're going to record much more regularly, and we're going to have a topic with each one. So today, we're going to do some tips on weight loss.
Because I don't know about you, Caroline, but I ate a truckload over Christmas and New Year.
Well, you remember how people used to say, all you need to do is eat at home to lose weight, right? Like if you cook at home, that you'll lose weight. Well, COVID has taught us that's a fucking load of shit.
I have to agree. Like literally, I think it was 10 kilos last year, but I've lost most of that now over Christmas as well. And I'm going to share with you guys some of the things that I did that might help you.
Yeah, well, that's fucking bullshit. You just said you ate a truckload and you've lost weight? Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
I lost an inch over Christmas and New Year over a 4-week period.
An inch of what?
Off my waist.
Oh. Sorry. Ooh.
When we talked about like giving tips and using just the tip, I didn't mean I wanted to lose just the tip.
Oh, I like that game, just the tip.
Just the tip. Have you ever played that?
I have, and it never ends up being just the tip.
No, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
But today, it is going to be just some tips.
Just some tips.
But not that tip. You dirty fuckers. Like, what the hell?
What are you thinking? So, yeah, we're going to give you tips that we think are going to really, really help you if you have excess weight to lose. But if you don't, stay tuned.
Fuck you.
Yeah, or fuck you. And while you're being fucked, stay tuned because these are just really good life tips. Because the things that keep you slim are the things that are going to keep you on track with whatever you want to achieve in your life. So,
Well, they're that good, are they?
they're that good. They're
Wow.
that good. Like, trust me. Like, I'm going to say them and you're going to be like, So, like,
Okay, yeah, well, you can start.
because I've got 5 tips.
Only 5?
How many tips have you had?
Maybe a couple more. Just like 1 or 2, that's all.
So here we go after a big break with 5 tips to help you be the most sexy, awesome, beautiful version of yourself with the best way and feeling amazing.
Exactly.
Number 1, self-love. Easier said than done. So number 1 is you got to love yourself. You got to believe that you deserve whatever it is you want. And this goes for everything in life, I think. Whether you want to get that job or you want to handle an addiction, whether you want to lose weight, you've got to believe that you deserve it, that you're worthy of it. So my number 1 tip is to do whatever it takes to love yourself. We referenced that book, Caroline, you mentioned it last year, I think, the Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It.
I think that was a few years ago, actually.
few years ago.
Yeah, one of my favorites.
If you want to know how to love yourself, just read that book. Step by step, it's going to show you. We use various techniques in our hypnosis. We'll in our clinics, we'll do trance where we say nice things to ourselves, or we'll have our clients imagine a mirror and looking into it and saying nice things, or imagine someone that loves you dearly. Say it could be a parent or your lover, and just imagine them looking at you. What would they say to you? So what is it they love about you?
As long as they're nice.
As long as they're nice and not cockheads, and just find a way to love yourself. And that's number 1. Because if you do that, I guarantee you everything in your life will come into balance, including your weight.
Yeah, it's interesting because this is something I talk to clients about a lot, is you've got to love and accept yourself right now where you are. And they're like, oh no, if I do that, then I'll just accept how my body is and I'll never lose weight. And hating yourself thin doesn't work. Like, I tried it for years and it was very ineffective. And I think your body's kind of like an animal. And if you're like, you fat pig, nah, and you're doing this like real, the stick instead of the carrot, it's your body gets stressed and it's like, oh, it's not safe to lose weight, and it just, it doesn't work. So it is loving and accepting yourself. And when you love and accept yourself, you want to look after your body, and you want to eat healthy, and you want to put good things in it, and you want to exercise because that makes you feel good.
100%. And I think if you struggle with that, one of the things I tell my clients to do is go out and look at all the different shapes and sizes of people. Just go to a busy mall or to a busy street and just notice, without judgment, how people come in all different shapes and sizes, and how much beauty there is in every person, and to look for beauty in every person they see. Like, find out what is beautiful about them, because then you'll start to recognize it in yourself.
And not, I mean, society today it just tells you have to look a certain way, that there's just one way that's acceptable and sexy and beautiful. I mean, I think that's actually changing now, but it's a load of shit. And most people don't look like that. And even like a lot of the people who claim to look like that, a lot of the influencers, they don't. It's all angles and apps, and it's just a load of shit. Yeah, love yourself right where you are. So that's the first tip.
That's the tip.
That's to slide in just a little bit easy.
And so tip number 2, and here's one where you may like to get external help for. So this could be through bouncing it off of a friend, doing some journaling, seeing a hypnotherapist, that kind of thing. It's to uncover the need or care that the food that you're eating in excess is providing you. So coming from an angle of, you're not trying to harm yourself by eating the cake or the pie. You're trying to give something to yourself, whether that's to alleviate boredom during a lockdown, whether it's to provide some joy or happiness. Whatever the reason, my strong belief is that when you are eating food, there's a positive reason for it. Find out what that is.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what, your subconscious mind, your body wants to keep you safe and alive, right? And we get these glitchy programs and these associations of sugar or a lot of wheat or takeaways or whatever it is a way of looking after ourselves. Like in my family, food was love. And that's how we like showed that we loved each other, is like making each other nice food. And it becomes a real program of that's how you feel better. Like I can remember when I think my eldest daughter was just little, like 2 or 3 years old, and she fell over and she hurt herself. And I was like, "Oh, do you want a cookie? Do you want, like, what can I give you sweet that'll make you feel better?" And then I went, "Oh my God, this is a terrible program that has been put into me." And you think about it, you go to the doctor and you get a vaccination or you get something along these lines, and they give you a lolly or a lollipop. Or did you have this growing up, or they give you candy?
Well, we got a sticker.
No, I got candy, like a jelly bean that you stuck your dirty fingers into, and God knows how.
Oh. But
Let's not think about that now.
It was the same with parents, and I saw it in my family, and I see it in all the families around me. Is a kid is crying equals something sweet in their mouth.
Yeah.
And that is a program that we keep as adults. So all we have to do is think, right, when I put this food in my mouth, is it because I'm hungry? And you know when you're hungry. If you stop and ask, am I hungry, or is this emotion? Before you eat, you're going to know the answer. Or is it an emotion? And if it's an emotion, then you need to deal with that. So you need to make a plan to deal with that. You can, again, journal, speak to a friend, see a therapist. It can be as simple as just recognizing, oh, I'm just bored. Then you need to work on some things that you can be doing that entertains you, that's not eating.
Yeah, and I think the other thing is that we mistake hunger for other things as a hunger for food. A lot of times when we want to eat and we're not actually physically hungry, we're hungry for something else. We're hungry for a rest or some affection or time with other people or the ability to leave your house without being arrested. You know, it's like, I think that's another thing. It's like, if you're feeling hungry when you're not actually physically hungry, it's really tap in. And what do I need right now? What am I actually hungry for?
And that's not necessarily a natural skill that people have, but you can practice it. With practice, I promise you'll have it. And just every time, what am I hungry for? What am I hungry for? Just ask yourself over and over and over. And if the answer is food, great. Eat something.
Yeah.
Eat something. Then just the tip number 3. This is one that most of you will know, but I can't overstate its importance. Eat off of a smaller plate. The plates that we eat off in our home have doubled in size in the last like 20 or 30 years. Now, when you think about adding a couple of inches to the outside of a plate, it doesn't look that much bigger. But if you think total surface area, it's almost double.
Yeah.
So what are we going to do? Eat off a side plate, that's a bit of a jump. I like to go to secondhand shops and find some like plates from 30 years ago that are just the right size that we should be eating off, in my opinion. Eat off of a smaller plate.
Or bowl.
Or bowl, or eat out of a smaller bowl. And because it's a natural thing to keep going till it's finished. How many times have you finished the bottle of wine even though you didn't want the last glass? But you just keep going.
I've never done that.
Obviously me neither. Or you keep eating the bag of crisps until you get to the bottom. They've done studies
Chips for people who don't know what the hell crisps mean.
Oh yeah,
Sorry,
crisps.
I'm your translator, yeah.
Translate from the Scottish boy. So chips, potato chips, if they put smaller bags, people stop eating sooner. The bigger the bag, the more people eat. They've studied this over and over and over. And it's the same with your dinner. With the smaller plate, don't worry, you're not starving yourself, because guess what you get to do? If you eat everything on it and you're still hungry, and you've tested that by going, am I still hungry? Or is this an emotion? Then you get to eat more. It's just about training your brain to be finished with a smaller amount. So without any starving, without any diet, you just are going to eat less over time.
Yeah. For me, growing up, you had to finish everything on your plate. And I was not allowed to leave the table until I ate everything on my plate. And I'm a stubborn bitch, so I could sit there for hours refusing to eat the food. But finally, you get tired and you give up and you just like eat it. Or you stuff it under some furniture like I used to do. And then you get in trouble when you move from that house and there's a whole bunch of stains from the food being shoved under the piece of furniture.
I certainly am guilty of doing that.
Didn't you used to throw stuff out the window or something?
I used to throw food out the window. I even had a memory last week of asking if I could visit my grandmother and bringing a Tupperware full of meatballs and stuffing the meatballs in a hedge on the way to her house. I couldn't stomach eating processed meat for some reason. The need to finish what was on your plate comes off of the back of kind of parents that were parenting during the wartime or grew up during the rationing. And in the UK, that rationing continued a long time after the war ended. And so my parents and the generation above me, they were all brought up, finish what's on your plate. And they used to reference Ethiopia a lot in the 80s.
Same. Starving children in Africa. I'm like, airmail it to them.
It's like, do you know what? Me getting fat is not going to help them.
Yeah.
So just really breaking your relationship to finishing what's on your plate. Even if you're at your friend's house, even if you're at a restaurant, get over it. You might feel that it's rude, but you have to get over that, because putting on weight and making your health worse just to be polite, that's not a good value, I don't think.
No.
So just saying, I'm really sorry. One of the things I got used to saying for years, and this really helped, was, I just got a teeny tiny stomach. Doesn't matter. I don't care how big you are. Just say, I just got a teeny tiny stomach. Because if you're overweight or if you're obese, people are going to think it's hilarious, but it's fine. You stop when you want. When you want to stop eating, you stop.
I remember going to dinner with my, this is years ago, but as adults, and going out to dinner with my dad and my stepmother and my brother, and it's this yummy Mexican restaurant, and we're all just like gorging ourselves, and we look over, and my brother, there's like more than half his meal left on his plate, and he's 6'4". And we're like, oh, Brian, aren't you going to eat? Like, aren't you hungry? And he's like, I'm satisfied. And we're like, what? And he's like, well, when you're satisfied, you just stop eating. And we're like, the three of us look at him and we're like, oh, God, that's so weird. Like, what the fuck, Brian? Like, yeah. And it was like, I mean, we're joking, obviously, but it was like, oh, and he's never been overweight. Oh, that's what you do. You just like stop eating when you're satisfied. But we've just been, I think, trained from a childhood age. And my mother was always like, you don't want to waste your food. And it's like, well, you're not a fucking garbage can, right? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, does it really make a difference if it goes into your mouth or if it goes into the rubbish, you know?
And it doesn't, again, have to go in the rubbish. Like,
No.
I went out for a food court meal last night because I was shopping with my mother. And I literally have not had a meal out for months. I've just been doing so much cooking at home, which I've been loving to do. And anyway, we're eating this food and we're like, let's not be too critical of it, because remember, this is food court food. What did we expect? And we didn't eat half of it. But we didn't throw that out. We'd got a takeaway container. It's in my fridge. Half of it is leftover chips with kebab. Yum. The other half is beef vindaloo. Yum. So I'm going to mix them together, heat it up, and that's going to be my afternoon tea today. It's like, I'm not selling this, am I? Whatever you're eating, if you're eating dinner at your family home and you don't finish it, you don't have to put it in the bin. If you've got a smaller portion, you're going to be at less risk of throwing it out in the first place. But even still, you can box it up, put it in the fridge, and eat it later. Leftovers are a great snack. They're usually more balanced than opening up a bag of potato chips or, opening a can of biscuits.
Yeah, definitely. I think, yeah, so it is. It's getting in tune with your body. The thing is, your stomach shrinks. I mean, your stomach's naturally the size of your fist, right? Which is just crazy when you think about that.
When you think about
you
what
can eat
your
a lot
fist
more. Yeah.
can fit into.
Well, I don't know where your fist has been, but anyways. And
Nowhere near there.
but within 4 days, your stomach shrinks back down to that size. So it's like thinking about when you serve yourself up, are you eating more than the size of your fist? And it just takes a few days for it to kind of shrink back down. So really, it's getting aware of how much food you actually need, and because we don't need as many calories as we're normally giving ourselves, right? I think the other thing to think about is that calories are not the same.
Mm-hmm.
It's really thinking about what kind of calories you're putting into your body. Are you putting good stuff in your body, or are you putting like empty stuff that has no nutrients? And then of course your body is like, I'm still hungry.
Do you know, I really got to go on a bit of a rant right now if I can. Who's got TikTok? If you've got TikTok, good on you. There are so many personal trainers on TikTok that just pissing me off because they go, you want to know how to lose weight? It's simple science. Energy in, it has to be less than energy out. Okay, we get it. It's just simple. It's just calories. And they treat it like all calories are the same. But they're not. If you're eating calories that have no nutrients, you will crave more food in order to get more nutrients. Yes, the math is the same. Put in what you put out. But what about the motivation? We all know not to eat too much. We all know to move. That's not the problem. The problem is the cravings that we have, or the need that we have to eat extra food, or the priorities that we have that stop us moving more. The problem isn't that mathematical thing, and they're making it look on TikTok, certainly the people that I'm seeing, like we're stupid and we're just eating too much and that's the only problem. No, the problem, if I put on weight, it's definitely not that I just don't know not to eat too much. It's that there's an emotion, or there's a bad program, or there's an old habit, or there's something else interfering. And so no, not all calories are the same. You need to eat nutrient-dense food, and that looks like eating stuff that's not overly processed.
Yeah. Like what our grandparents used to call food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If your grandparents ate it, it's fine. Meat, vegetables, even dairy. I don't care if you're vegetarian, whatever. You can still eat unprocessed food, whatever diet you're on.
Absolutely. And I think that's part of the problem is we've just gone so processed. We have so many chemicals in our food. We're eating so much sugar. It's just insane. And so I think, yeah, it is looking also at changing your diet, getting some of the things out. I mean, sugar, we all know, is not great for us. The other thing, like wheat, most wheat is sprayed with Roundup, so that kills all the good bacteria in our gut. The other thing is they bleach it with chlorine, even like brown whole wheat. They're bleaching it with chlorine and then like rebrowning it, which is insane. But the chlorine interacts with the protein in wheat. It creates this toxin called allotoxin. Allotoxin is now considered the most effective way to induce diabetes there is. So if they're doing an animal study and they want to make them diabetic, they just give them this like toxin that's a byproduct of bleached wheat, and they're diabetic like within weeks.
You look up, what do they call it, the GI of wheat and bread versus sugar, and you'll find that it spikes your blood sugar more than having sugar. So, yeah.
And it makes you hungry. Like if I eat wheat, I am starving. It really does have a different biological effect. But I think also what you think about what food you're putting in your mouth too. If you're going, this is going to make me fat, your body's like, ooh, this is going to make you fat.
Yeah, what you think about what you're doing has a huge, huge effect. And I want to say, like, our grandparents ate bread, but the wheat was different. It's been bred to have higher and higher gluten, and the processes that bread now goes through are completely different from, let's say, even 30 years ago. But
they didn't spray it with Roundup, and they didn't bleach it.
They didn't bleach it.
So I think those are direct correlations as well.
So your beliefs really, really matter. They did a study where they got 2 hotels. And they told all the workers in one hotel that, hey, did you know that what you're doing is exercise? and that every time you flip a mattress or you're walking 20 kilometers a day up and down the halls, you're exercising more than an athlete or more than a soccer player. And to the other hotel, they just had a chat with them about what they did for their job. In the group that they told them that what they were doing was exercise, they all lost weight. They lost heaps of weight without doing anything different because they just had this belief that what they were doing was creating weight loss. And that actually leads me to my tip number 4, which is get a Fitbit or some similar device to measure your movement. What gets measured gets done, and what you look at, it brings it to your conscious awareness. I got one for Christmas after my wonderful boyfriend put it in my stocking from Santa.
Oh, Santa.
Ooh. And I've got to tell you, I have never moved so much in my life because just having a constant reminder of if you're moving or not. If you don't like that kind of thing, you don't like that kind of thing, that's okay. But what I'm seeing is even when I think that I haven't exercised today because I've been cleaning out the garage, it's telling me you've walked 10 kilometers because you've been going back and forward with boxes all day. Then I can feel good about it, know that I've moved, and continue to lose weight. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I should dig my Fitbit out. I'm gonna get an Apple Watch though, I think. But yeah, for me it would be like, 8,000 steps. So I'd literally like run up and down my driveway until I got 10,000. And I was definitely way more kind of motivated because I could see it and it was like almost there. And yeah, I remember seeing some study and they talked about one of the major differences they can see between people who are fit and people who are slim, naturally slim, and people who aren't, was 2,000 steps a day. And that's just 15 minutes.
It's such a small amount.
Yeah.
Such a small amount. There's this app on it called Get Fit Bingo.
Yeah.
Where you have to do steps or exercise with an elevated heart rate because it measures your heartbeat, or walk distance. And you have to, once you reach a certain marker or goal, you can flip a tile and you've got to compete with your friends. So what I've done is seen me notice that my sister overtook me at 9:30 at night because she must have gone for her run.
Bitch.
And I'm like, shit, Juan, I gotta just dance before bed. Is that okay? So I put on music and I'm dancing because I need to get my heart rate up. And I never would have done that. I mean, okay, sometimes I do dance late at night before bed, but I wouldn't have done it on that occasion. And the next occasion when my cousin overtook me, and I'm like, no, I need to walk more. So there's a competitive aspect. So if you're competitive, you can play games with people that have these devices, and it motivates you. It doesn't have to be electronic. It can be something that you write down. It can be journaling. It can be setting down tasks for yourselves and ticking off reaching them. The key, I think, is dopamine. You want reward for achieving goals. Like your Fitbit, it will jingle when you reach your step goal for the day and buzz on your hand. You're like, oh, I've made it. So these little jingles, these little vibrations, they release a little bit of dopamine, which tells your brain, do it again, do it again. The little games that you played that you win, or even if you don't win, if you're competing and you're overtaking and your friends, they create dopamine. If you don't want to buy something like that, then write down some small goals like 2 kilometers today.
Well, even your phone will do it now.
Your phone will measure that at 100% and then celebrate that win. And get together with your friends and make plans to, hey, how much are we going to walk? And start small because...
other people might not be able to get together with their friends right now, Daryl.
Oh, yeah, that's also very true. And it's obviously, if you are not allowed to walk with friends, then that's okay. You can organize online, because you're competing against them. And if you're walking with them, then probably they're going to match you. So get together with them in an online group chat and set yourself goals of what you want to do, what you want to achieve. And for me, I like to lose attachment to the result. I don't want to think I'm aiming for loss of 5 kilos. I'm thinking I'm aiming for smaller portions. I'm aiming for moving more. I'm aiming for looking after my emotional needs, my self-love, and the weight will take care of itself. That's how I think about it.
Yeah, I think one thing I'll always say to clients is let's focus on getting you feeling good. Let's focus on getting you feeling healthy. And I think the weight will come as a result of that. And yeah, I mean, the thing is, exercise, movement, all really good. But I think also a big thing is what you're putting in your mouth. So really kind of thinking about that as well. But it's also how you're feeling when you put things in your mouth. And I am talking about food.
Imagery there.
You dirty fucker. And yeah, so I think if your body's in this really stressed state, your metabolism is totally shut down. There's that fight and flight. The other half of that is rest and digest. So if you're in this stress state, your body's like, I can't handle this right now, so I'm just going to store that away. And if you got high cortisol, which I think at the moment, so many people do in the world, like it's just a fucking dumpster fire. I'm sorry for everybody who's like shut away. But a little tip that you can do is before you eat, every time you eat, is sitting down and just taking 5 or 6 deep breaths and just getting into this more relaxed state, and you oxygenate your blood. And you think about, like, with a fire, what does it need? If there's no air, it doesn't burn, right? The fire goes out. So just opening up your window and getting some more kind of air. And I mean, this is a big part of what exercise does. And when you burn fat, most of it is expelled through your breath.
Yeah, it's crazy, eh?
Yeah, you're not shitting it out, not really. Well, maybe a little bit. But yeah, so it's a lot of it's to do. Yeah, so the more you kind of breathe, the more you're going to release that.
And I think as well, I want to reinforce the importance of those breaths before your meal, because it's bringing you into rest and digest, but it's also telling your body to produce the enzymes that it needs to digest and break down that food. It's telling your body to produce more acid. So what's going to happen is when you eat the food, whatever it is, you're going to break it down more easily. And then you're going to feel better after it. You're going to feel more satisfied. You're not going to have so much indigestion. And your body's just ready to receive it. I think that's why, we pray before meals and we say, thanks for this food. Thanks for providing. And so in my head, I like to say a little prayer or say a little gratitude, thanks for this, and imagine eating it just before I eat it. In the same way that before I go to the gym, I imagine doing the exercises, and it already puts the blood into my limbs, and it makes you less likely to get injury, and it's easier to warm up and to get into it straight away.
That's so true. Isn't it? Remember that guy, some Japanese scientist who did those messages in the water?
Miyamoto? No, I think that's the Nintendo guy. I know who you mean.
Yeah, amazing. But he would like take these vials of water and he'd be like, I love you, you're beautiful. And then he'd like freeze a drop of it and it would make like the most beautiful crystal patterns that you've ever seen. But if he said, I hate you and you're ugly and things like that, the water made these really like misformed, horrible kind of configurations. And it just showed how much what we're saying to ourselves and other people has such an effect on how our kind of molecules align. It was fascinating. But they also did stuff where they like did that with food, where they would pray over food or say, you're a fucking ugly rice. And like they would do these different things. And the food that they would pray over or say nice things to, then they would just sit it out. And those foods lasted like 5-6 times longer without molding and going bad than the food that had the negative messages.
It's crazy. A friend of mine did that with his kids over lockdown. So they got the jars of rice and they put the labels of say bad things to this rice and good things to this rice. Yeah. And at the end, he took photos. And no joke, like the bad rice was all moldy and yucky, and the other one was like really clear by comparison. We know this with plants as well. Like if we talk to plants, play nice music, say nice things, that they're healthier.
Yeah.
If you want to know an amazing book that explains how that works, by the way, just side note and book recommendation, How Plants Talk. I'll get the name for it and put it in the...
Oh, yeah, because I think, they showed, didn't they, where they like hooked them up to equipment and even just the thought of lighting a match on like a leaf, the plant would get all stressed out.
Yeah, like they can pick it up. They've got senses. Oh, boop.
Daryl, how dare you? Right.
They've got senses that we couldn't even imagine, that we don't even know that they've got. And so this book unravels a bit of the science of how they sense these things, because they don't have eyes, ears, nose, and a mouth and skin, but they've got their own senses for sure. Going to my last tip, and this is
just the tip.
I think this is the most important, and I'm going to be controversial here, and I know that I've said this before in this podcast, but I'm going to say it again in this context. I think sleep is the most important factor in your weight loss. More important than what you put in your mouth, and more important than exercise. And the reason is because when you don't have enough sleep, your cortisol levels are high, your stress hormones are up, and you eat the wrong shit. It's hard to control what you eat when you don't have enough sleep. You're going to crave sweet foods, you're going to crave energy foods, you're going to have caffeine. Everything goes out of whack.
Don't you make more ghrelin, which makes you hungrier, a hormone, and you make less leptin, which helps you feel satisfied and burn fat.
Exactly. And can we all agree that everybody knows that we should eat less and move more and that kind of thing, right? That's not the problem. The problem is the motivation. And I think the biggest factor affecting people's motivation is sleep or the lack of it. So get 7.5 to 8 hours of sleep if you can, where you can.
At least.
And it will be easier to control what you eat.
Yeah, that's very true. And I think the other thing really to look at as well is alcohol consumption. Just 2 glasses of wine slow your metabolism by 75% for several hours, right? Because alcohol is a toxin, so your liver just switches over and starts processing that instead. And your liver has a massive impact on your metabolism.
And it stops. Most people are drinking wine at night, and that is going to really interfere with your sleep. If you think that you're having 7 hours after sleep, it's the same quality as like 4 or 5. It completely destroys the quality of your sleep, any amount of alcohol, to be fair. And that has an impact there too.
Yeah, and if your liver is impacted, like if you have fatty liver disease or any kind of liver, but I mean, just slightly impacted, apparently, it reduces your body's ability to burn like 200 to 300 calories a day. And that just keeps going up the more your liver is impacted. It like your metabolism, your liver, your liver then directly affects your thyroid, and that really affects your metabolism. So there's this huge kind of knock-on effect. So really look at your alcohol consumption, look at what type of food you're eating, look at what kind of state you're in when you eat. And another thing is, when you eat, try to do nothing else. That was really hard for me. That was a huge, I remember doing this food psychology coaching course, and they went on and on about the effects of stress on the metabolism and what state we're in and how we're all just eating like in front of the TV or our phones or computers, and we're not even like really aware of what we're putting in our mouths, and we're not feeling very satisfied. So I think it is like, when you eat, do nothing else but eat. Which for me, I was like, oh, what the fuck do you mean? I need to read something, I need to be on my phone, I need to be doing an email. But then I would eat and be like, oh, what food? I'm still hungry. It's like my body didn't even register the fact that I ate.
And if you're like me and would struggle with that, and I did struggle with it, don't worry, it doesn't have to be forever. It just has to be for a few days or a few weeks until you retrain your brain to be conscious of what you're eating and be aware of what you're putting in your mouth and get new habits. Because if you've got new habits, you'll keep them. However, if you find yourself sliding back, maybe it's a habit you should keep. Just you can have conversation with your friends. If there's someone in the house with you, if you're alone, sit and just think about the food that you're eating. Think about how it feels. It's the same tip I give to people who are about to stop smoking. Until you come and see me, when you smoke, only smoke. Don't look at your phone, don't do anything else. And I want you to just really think about what it is you're enjoying about that cigarette. And people come in, they're like, do you know what? I just don't like them.
Yeah.
I just don't like them. So it's the same with food. Think about what you're eating, and you know what? You're going to really tune into really enjoying vegetables, the crunch of the fresh fruit and vegetables, and the hardiness of the nutrient dense food. And you'll also notice that the other stuff that you were kind of shoving down, perhaps like the cake and the bread, that you might have liked the first bite. So great, have that first bite, but that you stop enjoying it, but you eat it anyway. Just like with a drug. After the first bite or two, you stop enjoying it, eat it anyway. And that you only notice if you do nothing else. So that do nothing else is really important, and don't skip it. I want to say
one more thing about that.
Yeah, do. Go.
Yeah, because I think that it's harder to enjoy stuff that we did before. Like, we'll just shove in fast food. But if you actually have to sit and do nothing else and just savor that food, I find, because I'll tell that to clients, okay, you still can eat it, but you just have to do nothing else, and you have to really enjoy it like it's this gourmet meal. And they'll come back and say, I couldn't even finish it. It just became absolutely disgusting and repulsive to me. But I think the other thing is take pleasure when you eat, right?
Yeah.
If you're distracted doing something else, not tapping into that kind of pleasurable aspect, it's not very satisfying. It's like sex. If you're having sex with the TV on and other stuff going on, it's not very satisfying.
Yeah, you can just imagine you're having sex and you're flicking through your phone on Facebook, or your partner is. You're not engaged in that activity. You're not going to enjoy it as much. You're not going to get the brain reward chemicals. Everything's going to change. So, don't read while you have sex. While you eat. Don't watch TV while you eat.
Or fuck.
Or fuck.
And I think that
Well, Mum always said that you should be a slut in the kitchen and a chef in the bedroom.
What? Okay.
I stole that from a British comedy.
Yeah.
So there's one other one. I know I said 5, but there's this thing called relax yourself thin, which I think is going to help anybody.
Yeah. I prefer to stress myself thin, actually, Daryl. No.
Well, I tried that, but it works for a little while, and then it all comes piling back on.
I tried that for a long time. I tried to hate myself thin. I tried to stress myself thin, and it didn't work. I just got like bigger and bigger. So I think that, yeah, it is relaxing yourself thin is actually a program that I've developed, and it involves kind of hypnotherapy. But also, I think the other thing is like some of these tips you're going to probably listen to and go, oh, fuck, I don't want to do that. How boring does that sound? Or that wouldn't work for me at all. And I think that it's important to really tailor something for you and align with your kind of personality type.
I'm massive on that. I really, really think that some of these will probably resonate with you. And if so, do them. Some of them won't resonate with you. Fuck them. Try something else.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
But I think, yeah, so you can check that out. But with that, I have developed a little quiz to kind of help you figure out your what? What did I say?
You have developed a little clit.
Well, my clit isn't huge, to be totally honest. Anyways, I don't know, but I don't really compare it to other people's.
But you've also developed a clip.
Okay. Now you've just distracted me, Daryl. Fucking goddamn it.
It's my job.
Yeah, so I've developed a quiz that really helps you figure out your personality type and what's gonna work for you, and just gives you some tips around that. And so you can go to my website. I'm going to put the link down below, and take the quiz and just see what tips work for you. You actually get you get 2 free weight loss downloads with that. And yeah, because you can't do a cookie cutter recipe with people. You can't just be like, this is what you should do. Some people, the whole calorie counting and being really strict and meal planning and all of that works amazing. Other people, that just fucks them off, right? For like Daryl is talking about feelings and all of that. Some people are like, screw that. I don't want to talk about my fucking feelings or even think about it. That's not going to work for them either. So it really is tailoring something for you. I think also blood type actually does have something to do with stuff. So I think it's learning about that as well, if you can.
And also the microbiome. So that's the bacteria that you have in your body, specifically in the bowel, but your whole body. What we have been able to see is that if you have different bacteria in your gut, you can eat the same food, and that bacteria will make you store more of the calories from that same food. Totally. So it's not just calorie in versus calorie out. It's different depending on your gut bacteria. So there's all these different physical things that make you unique, which mean that your journey is different from the person next to you.
Yeah, and it's interesting with like the microbiome. They find that the more diverse your diet is, the more like different kind of foods and different colors and that you're eating, the more diverse your microbiome is. But the other really important thing to think about is giving that microbiome food to eat so everyone takes like probiotics, but a really important thing is I don't personally really recommend probiotics because latest studies have shown that if you give someone probiotics compared to someone who hasn't had them, it takes them actually longer for their gut bacteria to get back to a healthy state, which I find that really interesting.
I do, but I'm also, I want to see that repeated because I'm aware that people that don't like natural medicine produce bad studies sometimes.
Oh, that's totally true.
But I think where you're going from it is the food is where we should be looking. And I agree with that.
But also giving like prebiotics. So one thing I'll tell my clients is to have psyllium husks every day, right? And that's like the main ingredient in Metamucil, and it's like a fiber. You can buy like a big bag of it for like nothing at the grocery store or health shop or online, and you just do like a tablespoon, a glass of water, and mix it up and kind of in between meals. And then you drink another glass of water and it turns to kind of like this sludge, and it actually helps, it like binds to excess hormones and get some of the fat that you're burning off and sweeps it out. Because if your body gets too toxic, your body's like, oh no, we're too toxic. So it slows the fat burning process down. But also that those psyllium husks will feed the good bacteria in your gut. It gives it something to eat. And if it doesn't have something to eat, it tends to starve, right?
And it makes your poo amazing. Makes it a nice, great salad shape.
Yeah. Like a big banana.
Now, I do want to just mention though as well, if you're constipated, heavily constipated, you don't want to be taking psyllium husks until you're actually moving. And a tablespoon is a big dose. So most people are going to want to start on half a teaspoon or a teaspoon and build up to that eventually. So if you're not regular, and by regular I mean going at least once a day, not my version of regular is not the same as the doctor says. Whatever's regular for you is regular for you. I don't agree. I think we should be going at least once a day.
At least.
At least. And that the start with a small amount of psyllium or fiber and build it up. You need extra water because that fiber is going to swell up. So whatever water you were drinking in the day, you need more just to allow that fiber to swell up and sweep through. And it's just going to be one of the best things you do if you haven't done it before.
Yeah, because otherwise it's like trying to pass a block of cement. But the other thing is, because I used to have terrible constipation, right? And I would like shit like once a week. I was so full of shit, it wasn't funny. And there's this supplement called Mag-O-7, and it's oxygenated magnesium. There's other forms that you can get. I'll put a few different links in the notes. But that, I call it the shit. And it just helps kind of sweep stuff out. And you wake up in the morning, you like poo like a normal person. It's amazing. But yeah, if you're just totally toxic and full of all the shit, you're not absorbing your nutrients very well, and your body is not going to want to kind of burn fat because it's already trying to deal with all this toxicity.
And do you know, I was just thinking, no matter what we start talking about, we end up talking shit.
We are always talking shit. Yeah.
So we're going to have to go today because we want to bring you some more stories about orphans soon.
Yeah, but okay.
Oh,
so
no,
I have
one more.
I have a book recommendation. Just started reading this book. Fan-fucking-tastic. I think it's like the #1 weight loss book on
Amazon.
Amazon, yeah. It's called Eat Smarter, and it's by Sean Stevenson, and it's fantastic. And he really does talk a lot about health and the liver and all those different aspects. He's got a really good podcast as well. If you're interested in a podcast about health and weight loss and all of that, it's called The Model Health Show.
Nice.
Model Health. Yeah, really, really good. But he really addresses it from a holistic point of view. And so that's my book recommendation for the day. And if you're interested in weight loss and need to kind of take off some of those COVID pounds, check it out.
Perfect.
Do you have any weight loss books you'd recommend?
Well, actually, yeah. My favorite weight loss book is by Paul McKenna. He's a stage hypnotist from the UK who's tried to make himself a celebrity. And by
Apparently has a terrible cocaine problem.
Yeah.
No.
So
Just kidding. Not really.
I don't know whether he's the best role model in life or not. But what I will say is that he has this way with his book, I Can Make You Thin, of getting a lot of different techniques and condensing them down to something really simple and easy to read. So if you don't know anything about hypnotherapy, you can pick that book up off the shelf, I Can Make You Thin. It's got a little story in it. It's a very short book. You can read it in a day. It's got some little activities and it comes with a hypnosis. Some people hate his voice, some people love it. However, the little activities in this book and the information that's in this book, I find is really helpful. So I recommend it to a lot of my clients to go and read, or to people that are interested in how hypnosis might help them with weight loss.
Yeah, it is good. And that was one of the first ones I read around hypnosis and weight loss, and it was excellent and really actually helped me because I would listen to the recording, and yeah, he's got this really like voice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Very deep English voice. Yeah, so that's good. But yeah, if you want some hypnosis for weight loss, check out my website with the link down below, and you'll be able to get 2 free guided meditations or hypnosis, or what do you want to call it? And there's nothing scary about that. It's just helping reprogram, like, basically your operating system, right? And I think the other thing, like, I know I said I would stop, but I can't, is start to tell yourself what you are, right? What you want to be, right? Like, whatever size you want to be, whatever weight you want to be, start telling yourself you are that now, right? Because whatever you tell yourself, your subconscious mind is going to try to make that true. So if you keep telling yourself, I'm so fat, I need to lose weight, all this kind of stuff, that's what's going to keep perpetuating in your life.
Your past thoughts created your present reality, and your present thoughts are going to create your future reality. So saying, I'm skinny, I'm beautiful, whatever the words are, or I look good, I feel great, just saying it over and over. Even if you don't believe it to begin with, that's okay. Just keep saying it over and over, and that will create your future beliefs, your future actions, and your future behaviors, and your future self.
Yeah, and tell yourself it's safe for me to lose weight as well, because that's another thing. And I know I keep saying I'm not going to say anymore, but
Penis.
This is don't talk about penises. God damn it, Daryl.
Penis. That's
No.
that's the alarm, like the light flashing with the stage comedy hypnosis.
No penis. Actually, I do like penis.
You do. You know
just one penis.
The stage comedians, how the light flashes to say
and you're like, no, I'm still going. Or like the awards show where the person won't shut up. I'm the person with the person that's being told to shut up, but I won't stop. Your subconscious mind, again, wants to keep you safe and alive, and weight is protection. So I think that is one of the biggest factors with every client I see who's got weight issues, is there's some sort of trauma. There's some, like, if you've had sexual trauma. I know for myself, like I had several traumatic things, and I started to put on weight, like kind of like at a young teenage age, or like very rapidly. And it was after these traumas, and I think subconsciously, my body was like, I need to be as fat and unattractive as possible, and also kind of big and scary, so people aren't going to mess with me. So I think you've got to reprogram your subconscious to know that the best way to keep you safe is for you to be fit and healthy and strong and fast and confident, not like overweight and unhealthy, and that's not actually keeping you safe. And it's not going to keep you safe from negative male attention. It's not going to keep you safe from anything, because it doesn't matter what size you are. There's some man standing there going, oh yeah, baby, that's exactly what I want. Yeah. So the thing is, most people, and I would say 99%, know exactly what to do to lose weight. They know what to do, but it's some part of you is sabotaging. And if some part of you is sabotaging, you really need to look at that and undo it at that operating system, that subconscious level, because otherwise it's going to just keep repeating, because you don't need more knowledge. You don't need another diet. You know what to do. But why aren't you doing it? That is, I think, actually the number one most important thing you need to look at.
And exactly, 100% agree. I think I didn't want to go into it too deeply here, because I think this is the area where you might like some assistance with. If you think, oh, my self-image due to abuse or negative male attention has caused me to seek safety through a bigger size, that's something you might want to work through with a therapist or a professional. Again, it comes back to uncovering the need or care for that food. I think the intention is always positive. And as you're saying there, the intention is to make you big and strong, or it can be to make you unattractive to people that you might see as a predator, or a part of you might see as a predator. So really looking at that and working through it. I know for me, when last year got going, the reason that I put on weight is because we didn't know if there would be security of food moving between countries. We didn't know what was going to happen. The changes were stressful. And for me, my body said stress, insecurity, and putting on some fat. That's a good thing. We're designed to do that. You're designed to put on weight when you don't know if there's going to be food.
Totally, because historically, that's the only time if your cortisol is raised and you're in that stress state, it's famine, it's war, it's major things happening. So right now, your body's like fat-making programs are going to be more activated than ever.
And then from there, accept it, have compassion. Don't hit yourself and go, oh, well, some people lost weight during lockdown. Great, that's what they did. But what your body did was perfect for you. It put on weight in response to stress, which is what it's meant to do. Have some compassion for yourself, have some self-love. Let's reduce that stress now, and let's rewind it. Now that you're safe, now that you know that despite lockdowns, despite everything, guess what? There's still food in the stores. There's still production of food. The world is still turning. No matter what the state of it, it's still turning. You are safe, you are loved, and you can love yourself.
And it's going to be okay. Yeah, so that's something I address in my Relax Yourself Thin program that you can kind of check out. And it's something that you don't have to go see someone else. You can kind of work through this on your own if that's what works for you. So
that's us. That's another week with Daryl and Caroline.
And we're going to be doing lots more shows. So if you got questions or a certain topic you want us to talk about, write to us at WTF, storiesandadvice@gmail.com. And give us a review or share this podcast so that other people can find it as well.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and send us emails about all your funny, crazy shit that happens.
Yes, absolutely. So that's us. Bye.
Bye.